about yourself. You have such an interesting background. So you were born in Nigeria and then moved to Ireland? And how old were you when you moved?
So I was born in Nigeria and I lived in Nigeria till I was one. And then we moved to the Netherlands for 3 years. So I moved there till I was four, and then from the age of four till about 21 is when I went to drama school, and I lived in Ireland for like 17 years. So my family's still in Ireland. I still go back and everything, but for the time being, I'm living in London.
Well, that explains why you're so great at accents.
Yes, yes. I think the thing is, I'm not actually that great at accents, if I'm being completely honest. I think the Bermudan accent is something that when I grew up in Ireland, I was really exposed to a lot of American media. So in Ireland, my accent for people that were not attuned to the American accent would sound American. The Bermudan accent is in between American and English. So it's a weird amalgamation, which is easier for me to do. Like if you asked me to do like a Nigerian accent, but I couldn't do Welsh or Scottish or any of the really cool ones. You know what I mean? I can't really, yeah, it's kind of capped.
So you're at your maximum accent limit. Is that it?
I don't want to say that, yeah. I want to say that I have time to develop some more skills, but maybe for the time being, yeah.
And so your family moved from Nigeria to the Netherlands. Was there a reason for that move? What spawned this change, drastic change of scenery? Because that's
Yeah,
West Africa to northern Scandinavia is pretty
yeah,
drastic.
yeah. I think unfortunately the kind of crisis, the social economical kind of crisis in Nigeria isn't something that's extremely habitable for a young family. And
Mm.
so like they had me, and I think both of them had, they just wanted more for us. Like I think as parents do, right? You always want more for your kids than you do for yourself. So they moved to the Netherlands because they knew people in the Netherlands. And they were working, but I think for them coming from Nigeria, they could speak English, they're bilingual, but learning Dutch at their age would have been extremely hard. So I think for it was the better option to not go to not stay there. But then from where to go from that point on, it's like, okay, America, there's guns in America, so they're not going to America. There's knives in the UK, they're not going to the UK. So Ireland was like, okay, no one's really heard of this place. So they went to Ireland. Do you know what I mean? Like 20
Yeah.
years ago, no one really, yeah, the world didn't really know
Yeah.
about Ireland. Yeah.
And unfortunately, some of those are still problems to this day. I know guns in the US, it's just ridiculous. It's just,
Yeah.
oh, it makes me so angry every day. Anyway,
Yeah.
fun things. So what made you want to go to acting school? What made you choose that?
I think acting school was the next step, right? So I grew up in a small town in Newbridge, and that is in Kildare, the county. And it's, yeah. So acting wise, there was a youth theater that I went to. I loved that so much. My director from that, Peter Hussey, he was just amazing. And because I started acting for fun, I made friends. It was like a thing I did when I was like 14. And then as you got serious, you were thinking about, okay, how could you turn this into a profession? What do you have to do? And most of the time for actors that want to be taken seriously in the industry or to have a place to learn the craft of acting before you actually become an actor, you go to drama school or you attempt to go to drama school. And yeah, I guess I was lucky.
And drama school must not have been easy during the pandemic. I mean, you just graduated in 2021, right?
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't during the pandemic, it was kind of it was tricky. It was tricky. It wasn't like for me, I'd finished the learning at drama school, so like the first 2, 3 years you do most of your learning. So I was at the tail end of drama school. I was just kind of doing shows at that point. And so missing out on the kind of sentimental quality of ending a chapter, that was bad.
Mm.
But the actual 2020 happening, it didn't strike me that badly because it gave me some time to the world shut down for a second. Like it gave us some time to like breathe, I guess. So yeah, wasn't too bad.
Yeah, our kids were just at the end of high school, so I think they probably felt a little similar, and they sort of gradually got into university because of it.
Yeah, they missed their senior year of high school and their freshman year of college because of the
Yeah.
pandemic. You know, they had to do them from home. So that kind of finality and celebration of it was missing. So when you're wrapping up drama school, though, surely you've got to do a lot of performances, right? And you can't do a lot of stage productions during COVID.
Oh, of course. And that was really tricky for majority of my year. And myself included. Like I think we got 2 shows done, and we normally have like maybe 4 public showcases. So we had 3 of them done, and there was 1 left to do. But unfortunately, this was meant to be the one where we all came together as like a class, and it was meant to just be, you know, like you said, this finality thing. It was meant to be like a union. We all come back together. We've been separated for 3 years. We're together as like a family, and we're going to do the show. And that had to be done on Zoom. And I don't think I even need to say anymore. You can probably imagine. There's not a lot you can do when it comes to living performances and having the chemistry that you feel with the audience when it's live and in the moment. There's not a lot you can do. So that was unfortunate, you know.
So you performed a play over Zoom?
We recorded elements of a play, and we tried to turn it into this pseudo play theater thing. It was weird.
Oh, it must have been really hard.
Because we didn't really know what we were dealing with, right? Because one minute you could be around people, next minute you couldn't be around people. So we're like shooting things in different locations, trying to cut it and make it seem like we're in the same room. And it's like a duologue scene, like they're meant to be like across a dinner table or something. So it was it was it was just the time when the world was just like, we don't know what the is that. Oh,
no,
I'm so
okay.
sorry.
It's all right.
Okay. Apologies. But we don't know what's going on. So no one really knew what was happening. We just kind of winged it, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
If you can do that, you can do just about anything though, right?
Yeah, I would hope so.
So now were you with your family or were you on your own or roommates or how did that?
When I went to drama school.
No,
pandemic.
yeah,
What was that like? Were you all alone?
Oh, yeah. I basically, so me, my partner, and my roommates at the time. So there's like 4 of us in the house. 2 of them, they went back home. So they stayed with their family. I think 3 of them did. And then myself and my partner, we stayed here. I think we went back for like a short amount of time to Ireland, but we spent most of the time in the UK.
Yeah, I remember being locked up in the house. Unfortunately, we had 3 kids here. I have triplets who are all now going into, well, they are in their junior years of college, and Mark has a kid the same age. So we were up to the rafters with people. We wanted the pandemic to be over just so somebody would get out of the house. Please.
All these people were talking about being alone and isolation from the pandemic.
That sounded good to us.
I'm never alone.
Yeah.
So sex education came after that, after you graduated?
Yes, it did.
So how did that come about?
So I remember I had an audition. I got the sides for the show, and I was like, I need to do this. I remember I was walking my friend to the bus stop, and I just got the sides in for my agent, and I was like, oh my God. And I said to her, I was like, I have to get this job. I have to get this job. And I guess then yeah, I just went and I worked with my agent on the scene. They liked the tape, and then yeah, I got cast, it was a really amazing opportunity. And the story that we were telling as well was really significant. Especially because of the background, because of the ethos when it comes to people that are part of the LGBTQI community, especially Nigeria, which is an extremely homophobic country even now. So that was a powerful piece to just kind of celebrate that. Yeah.
Well, good for you for being so brave so early in your career.
Of course. Like
I know there are actors who are more established who worry about doing roles that might define them or, take a big risk.
Yeah, 100%. But I at the end of the day, like I'm here for the stories that I get to tell. Do you know what I mean? And if it's a story that is significant and it's a human story, I don't really care about the social implications of that. It's like, no, these stories are important. I would rather be part of part of the movement in changing a perspective than to be too scared to take the first step, you know?
Right on.
Yeah.
And Sister Boniface is quite a gear shift there then, right?
Yeah, it's yeah, like Sister Boniface it's it's my home. It's a safe haven of just humor, friendship, community. It's I don't like the show when it comes to, let's say, sex education and like Sister Boniface. Obviously, sex education is a lot more raunchier in its content, and Sister Boniface is a bit more
It's
family
very
friendly.
tame.
But
Yeah.
even though we're talking about people killing people, like you know,
Isn't
but
that funny?
yeah,
There could be multiple corpses in an episode and it's still wholesome.
I know. And that's the quality of the show that's so endearing in a lot of ways. It's like you have all this manicness that's happening around you, but yet it has this light, cheerful energy, even in the sad times, you know.
Were you a fan of that kind of mystery show before Sister Boniface? Was that something that you would have watched?
Definitely. Like I think it was like Murder She Wrote was one of my favorite shows, like ever. You know what I mean? And so Murder Mysteries it's always appealed to me. I think as I grew up and I diversified my palette, then I was probably watching other things that were more of whatever interest I had at the time. So maybe I wasn't watching Murder Mysteries like consistently, but it was always there, yeah, for sure.
Well, and something like Midsummer is just forever there.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
seems like.
yeah,
You can't be in the UK and not be exposed to cozy murder mysteries.
yeah.
So
So
you're the youngest person on that show by 10 years, 15 years. What's that like?
No, I'm not. Amy Metcalf, she plays Peggy. So she's
Oh,
only like
that's
a few
true.
years. Yeah, yeah. So I'm definitely not. And it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm actually, if anything, it's definitely a bonus. I'm getting a lot of great tips, like family tips, finance tips, career tips. Like it's really amazing. A lot of people that have been through it are, yeah, they're giving a lot of good advice. So yeah, it's good to be the youngest for sure.
and yeah, your parents just must be overjoyed. You're on a BBC show, one of the top ranked BBC shows in the country and worldwide, and talking to people all over the world now. They have to be proud of you.
Yeah, I think they most definitely are. Um, for them, they understand, and for myself as well, they understand that the fleetingness of how acting can be. Like maybe for 1 to 5% of people, you have consistent jobs, and for actors that are still establishing their career, it can be quite hard to get that consistent. So for me to be able to do a job like I'm doing now, they're super grateful, they're super happy, but they just want me to be secure. They don't want me to fall on hard times type of thing. But yeah.
Well, we know from Jude. Jude let us know in her interview that there's a season 3 that's already been scheduled. And
Okay.
have you guys filmed that yet, or are you in the middle of filming that?
I yeah, I,
You can't talk about it. That's okay.
I don't think I can just yet because I
That's
wouldn't want
totally
to.
fine.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
So Sister Boniface, I mean, it's such a fun show, but yet when you describe it to people, it's about this crime-solving nun
Yeah.
in a place called Little Slaughter, which, if you don't want people to die, don't name your town
No.
Little Slaughter.
Yeah.
What's it like being on a little cozy show, like set in a little a smaller community like that? I mean, it's got to be quirky. I mean, we've seen the great video you did where you toured the set and showed all the locations and stuff,
Yeah.
but it seems really claustrophobic, but not in a bad way. But it's like a
Yeah.
tight space and a tight group of people. What's it like to work in an ensemble cast like that?
I think first of all, it's like summer camp. So that notion of you go away to summer camp and you're in a weird parallel existence to the rest of the world, which is kind of cool. Um, it's the cast, the community, they're amazing. Like It's really lovely on set between the crew and the cast. It's generally like banter, having fun, a lot of laughter. Um, when it comes to like when we're in the studios, it can be a bit cramped and tight. But you're in a studio, you know, you're in like a makeshift um performance space. But when we're on like actual locations, we're in manor houses. They're like massive, you know, like 14th century, 15th century pieces, and some of them are really extravagant. Some of them are definitely haunted, and it's it's really fun just being able to yeah, and also like living in the Cotswolds for 4 months. When you're in London, like everything is going so quickly all the time, and your mind never has a moment to rest. So for me, it's so amazing to just turn off everything, turn off the engine, just focus on work in like, you know, the countryside. Like it's beautiful, you know.
So do they put you
Yeah.
up in a hotel, or do you
Yeah.
stay in a trailer, or where do you live when you're there?
Normally they put me up in I have my own space basically. So they rent out a space for me, which I'm really lucky to get. But yeah, they rent out a space for me and I kind of have a space that I'm coming back to. So it kind of feels like a second home. Yeah.
So with an ensemble cast, you also have kind of weekly guest stars that move through the show,
Hmm.
who have been different people who have been in lots of other things. Is there anyone who you remember working with coming through as a guest star that you were really excited about or really enjoyed working with?
Oh, that would be so unfair to just pick one, to be honest. Because they were no, but they were all amazing. And like it's like having a flavor of a different set of people for that episode because we don't know. We just read the scripts and we're, you know, imagining who would be who. And then the people show up and it's like you have again like this pocket of interactions where it's really intense bonding and then, you know, they go back and we're still there. We're the like continuum. So working with people, I always find it interesting to see what approach they take. So no matter who it is, I'm always analyzing to see what they do acting wise. And everyone for me has been amazing. Like I can't necessarily pick one person, and I think it would be unfair to, but yeah, everyone's been good.
So we spoke to Jude about increasing diversity amongst this area of television in the UK specifically, and
Mm.
talked about how it's important for her. So there's a female lead character, there's a cast that includes diverse people. What do you feel your part is in that, or how do you approach that?
That's that's a really good question. I think when it comes to diversifying, it's always necessary, right? And it shows, first of all, it unlocks perspectives for other future content creators to see potentially some stories, some period time, like period pieces, to reimagine them outside the realm of what we kind of are conditioned to believe about history or about retelling of history or of the time. So diversity is amazing in that type of way. Like we're seeing a nun, like a female, we're seeing a female protagonist that's equally a nun, you know, that's in this wacky town where we're solving cases with a dude that's from Bermuda. And it's I think what could be lovely is more diversity in the show to show different perspectives. But right now, to this point, diversity in my perspective has been relatively good. You know, it's been a kind of colorblind casting element. So it's not really tied to race or creed. It's open for interpretation, no matter your orientation, no matter what you look like. So I feel like the show is already doing that quite well. But more of that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it just depends on how it's used, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've noticed in other shows where they've had to make an obvious effort to diversify their cast, sometimes
Hmm.
they have kind of a heavy hand about it. Like they point out, look, this person is diverse and that's why they're here.
Yeah.
And the story is about them being different.
Mm.
But in Sister Boniface, it just, people just are who they are, and it's not part of the
Yeah,
plot.
yeah. And I think it's because it's about community, right? They see you as one of them because you're one of them. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't like if you're an outsider, it's like, okay, we have the connotation now because I'm a black man and I'm playing Felix. Now Felix is equally a black man, so because he's other, we automatically put him as other. But he's not necessarily other because of his blackness. He's just other because he's a stranger to the community. That's the difference. So once he becomes part of the community, then it's like you're one of us, regardless of what you look like. And I do like that because like you were saying, you can have embellishments of people's like backgrounds and using that as a kind of unique selling point. And you disrespect it more by doing that rather than, you know, just diversifying, but not having to point at it and get like a round of applause or a pat on the back. Like it's not about that. It's not about good job, we diversified. It's just telling a story from the perspective of multiple groups of people.
Oh,
Well,
that's such a good way to put it.
yeah, along the lines of diverse voices, I think there's diverse perspectives. I think there are
Mm,
great stories to be told, certainly about a young detective in the 60s who's black, that there's stories to be told there, but there's also
mm,
stories of normalization that
mm.
affect, I think, viewers in ways that they don't even realize that they're allowing themselves to get comfortable with seeing people of
Yeah.
color and people of LGBTQ plus people just
Mm,
being accepted and normalized and not pointed out.
yeah. I agree to that massively. I agree to that massively. And that's why TV is such a powerful medium. And it's how we use that medium and how we, like you're saying, it's not pointing it out. Sometimes it's just a subtle interjection is all that's needed to make people normalize with the idea. So yeah, I agree to that.
Okay, so on a lighter note,
Yeah, go for it.
tell us about a scene that was difficult to film, something that was fun and difficult.
Oh my God. Okay. Fun and difficult. What was fun and difficult? Oh my God, this is terrible. I can't remember how this went down, but basically, most of the time it's when it's crunch time and like we have to wrap. It's Friday. We don't have any more shooting time. We have like 5 minutes left before everything. We have to leave the venue. Da 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 da. And when it's the most pressured time, for me, I crack under the pressure. So I tend to laugh, and that's not good because everyone's waiting for me to calm down. And I'm trying to think of like specific stories. Uh, Most of the time it's because we're doing so much, it kind of blends into one. So I don't have these like knockout moments. Oh no, I know. Okay, she's gonna hate me for saying this. Okay, so Lorna walks in. I used to scare her on set. It used to be this little thing where I just like frighten her at different points. We had this little just one upping each other. And um there was one time there was a sarcophagus in the lab, and I was in it. And she as she walked into the room, all of the crew knew about this. Which was really nervous. As she walked in, we got it on camera. I jumped out of the sarcophagus. He screamed so loud. It was so funny. I felt so bad, but it was so good. It was worth it. There's definitely
Oh, but now
video of
you're
that. I
in
need to
for
add
it though, right? Because she's trying to think of
Yeah,
a way to get you back, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know how far she would go. You know what I mean? Like we've already raised the bar so high.
I don't know if I would want to attempt that.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that on footage though. I bet. I just imagine, all she has is this face, she's so limited to just her face and that habit. And she's
yeah,
so good at emoting with her
yeah,
face. I just imagine, ooh,
yeah. But then add like a high pitched scream. It was so good. It was so good. Yeah, but she definitely hated me after that. Just a little bit, just a little bit. She definitely did.
Yeah, if
But
she
yeah.
offers to take you a ride on the motorcycle in the sidecar, I wouldn't go.
I know,
I don't
not
know what she's gonna do.
unsupervised, definitely not. Yeah,
So you rode in the sidecar in the first episode. Was that actually
yeah,
you in the sidecar?
yeah.
So the
But like, it
vehicles
was,
on that show are incredible. The scooter
yeah,
is beautiful, and the
yeah,
cars are all they're just so cute. All
yeah.
the little police cars and everything. So is that something you enjoy, that sort of period piece of things and exploring different fashion and things like that?
Yeah, yeah, it's like a time capsule, you know? And like I definitely like the cars. Like the cars are definitely a bit small, right? I'm a little bit tall. I'm like 6'6" foot, but I have really long legs. So in those cars, it kind of feels like a clown car, like you're, crammed in. But other than that, like just the looking at the fashion side of things, like our costume director, she's incredible. Claire's her name, and she's like the outfits that they come up for some of the fashion stuff that we do. That's amazing. For me, is the clothes. Like they just look spectacular. But the time frame of what it's like, yeah, I like the 60s. I wasn't born in the 60s, but it looks cool, you know?
Oh, you always look great.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
thank you. Thank you.
So
The women get to wear the really outlandish things, though, the big beehive hairdos and the, geometric pastel,
yeah,
But it's
there-
so cool though.
I
It's really,
know.
yeah.
so the the first episode starts with you arriving. Are you really the secret star of this show? Is this
No,
really the
no,
Felix Livingston
no,
show?
no, you're not doing that. You're not doing that. No, no, it's not. No, not at all. I think that Felix provides an opportunity for the audience to have you watch how everything's happening in the show, right? And it's very outlandish. Some of the methods that they have are archaic, and it's just how the hell are these people functioning as a group of people, never mind like as a police station, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel as though as an audience, you're bewildered. That's what you feel. You look at it and you're like, how the fuck is this coordinating? Felix just becomes the eye for the audience. It's not, it's just he reiterates the absurdity of what is going on, you know? Um, but in no way, he's just like a commentator on what is going on, but from the side of the audience. But other than that, no, not at all. The show
Oh,
is
but
about
I
Sister
really like that
Boniface.
interpretation of the character, though. But he does change, right? Initially,
Yeah.
he's let me just go back to Scotland Yard. That's where I thought I was going to be. I didn't think I was going to be stuck out here in the middle of nowhere, and he's just looking for a
Mhm.
chance to get away. But that
Mhm.
changes, right? Did that?
That changes because he integrates more. Yeah, 100% did
Yeah.
that. Mm.
So you're on a BBC show. It has 2 seasons, maybe more. We're not going to talk about it. That is watched by millions of people. What is your fan experience like? I know you went from a young man finishing college to now somebody who is on billboards probably, or at least you see yourself in ways that you didn't know you were going to see yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It hasn't changed my focus, I guess. I think in international marketing and like promotion, there's more like in America, for instance, there would be more marketing for it than let's say in the UK. So I haven't necessarily had like a, like fan interaction or anything like that, but I guess it's surreal. It's really surreal because I'll see a picture of like Sister Boniface and she like her face on like a skyscraper in New York, and I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm
But you
on
know what I
that
mean?
show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. So it's weird. It's surreal. It's kind of like I'm here, but I'm not there. I'm kind of here. So, but for me, it's always about the craft. So I keep myself level-headed in that way. I would hope that regardless of my situation, regardless of if, let's say, people were coming up to me and being like, they wanted photographs or autographs, I wouldn't want to change anything. I wouldn't want it to alter how I behave. I just want to keep. I'm quite introverted generally, so I would like to keep balance no matter what.
I have this
If that
image in
makes
my
sense.
head of like just packs of like 60 something year old women just following you.
But
That'd be nice
also
though. We could go for tea.
I think I think without trying, and I don't want to imply that you change anything about you or anything, but without trying, I think there are probably little black children who are watching you on TV saying, that man is respected, that man is listened to, that man's a policeman. And that's a difference. And, you know, those fan interactions you might not deal with on a daily basis, but I know you're having that effect. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying that. And also, if that is happening, then I'm doing my job and I'm fulfilled in my job. That's kind of what I would hope and want for people. You know, like if it's even just a little black kid that looks up and says, I want to be a police officer from seeing this fictional character be a police officer, or if it's someone saying they want to be an actor, whatever it is, just that sheer positive impact on someone else's life for them to, chase after something they want. That's what I hope I'm doing. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why I got into this, is to try and tell those stories as best as I can.
I think the
And
other influence that you can't overlook, and we heard a lot of this just from doing the podcast about the kind of shows that we talk about during the pandemic, especially. We got a lot of letters from people just saying, this is like, these shows are like a warm hug to me, because I know there's going to be a happy ending. I know that even if they deal with, issues or tragedy at the end, everything is going to be okay. I can rely on how I'm going to feel after watching this show. And I think, yeah, even after a pandemic, people still flock to to a show like Sister Boniface because it's like a little safe place.
yeah,
And so you're part of providing that little safe place for people. And I that may seem more minor, but I think it's really important that people have that.
It's
thank you.
difficult to escape when the world is falling apart.
Mm.
And there
Yeah.
were definitely weeks where we didn't know what was going to happen. We really had
Yeah.
no idea. Everybody thought they did, but they're like, I've listened to our podcast and we're just like, what was that?
Well, but even now the news can be pretty dismal, right? And you turn on something like Sister Boniface and you know what you're going to get, and it's going to be, positive and make you feel comfy. It's like a
Yeah.
hug.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And Felix is definitely part of that hug, I think, for
Oh.
sure.
And I think a good part.
Yeah.
Like, I think that there should be, like, the big things for me for Sister Boniface is it is a female-led show in which she is not romantically entangled constantly.
Well, you got to make her a nun to make that not happen.
Right?
That's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, fair.
And it has a diverse cast that isn't like under a big banner that says we're a diverse cast.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's an Asian nun that isn't even talked about, and I love that. I love that it's just normalized. It's just fully accepted. You gonna make it out to the US anytime soon? Have you ever been across over here?
I have never actually been over to America, but America it's always been on my list of places I want to go to, as a kid. Like I watched Power Rangers. I watched a lot of American shows. Like everything I watched was American driven in some way, shape, or form. Even anime was American dubbed. So
Yeah.
I think for myself, going over to America though, I haven't gone on a holiday, but I want to go for work. So that would be, I'm kind of like, I haven't gone on a holiday for a reason. I'm not going to go until I have a reason to go over there. So I wanted to be there because I'm doing something, doing work. That would be the ultimate reason to go over, rather than just booking a flight to see the States,
Yeah.
Well, I have no doubt that we will see you in even bigger productions than Sister Boniface in the future.
I absolutely. You're
We'll be able to say, remember when we talked to him?
you have that I like you're doing stuff.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people who talk about doing stuff, but
Yeah.
you're doing.
Speaking of which, do you make music?
Do I make music? Yes, I do. I haven't been making music for a little. I'm in a weird decluttering of my music, but I do make music. Yeah.
Because I saw a couple clips of you singing and rapping,
Yeah.
and you're very good, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
But we couldn't. I remember. What was the name of that
What
band?
was the name of your band?
The Grandpa.
The
Oh, the
Grandparents.
Sexy Grandpa Collective.
Yes.
Class.
Nothing
Yes,
disappears
yes,
on the internet, Jerry.
And
Nothing.
Yeah.
That kind of describes our audience, the Sexy Grandma Collective.
So you
That's
were in
amazing.
that band. Okay.
No, I am. Yeah, 100%. So that's a collective of people. So we're a collective of different artists that make music together. So it's a network of people, as well as like we have our own merch and everything like that. But yeah, the Sexy Grandpa Collective, you can check out our music. It's good. It's good. You know what I mean?
So before we go, and thank you again for all your time. You've been super fantastic talking to you.
Amazing. Yeah.
Is there anything that you are doing now that you want to promote that you can talk about?
Let me see. Nothing at the moment, but I would love to. I could drop you guys an email for sure. And because I can't think of anything at the
Absolutely.
moment. But if I do, I'll drop you guys an email. Because I think there are one or
Anything
two
you'd like us
projects
to
I'd like
link
to
to
send.
or to promote, we're very happy to do it.
Yep.
Amazing.
And along with that, send us your address. We'll send you some stuff too.
Oh, you don't have to do that.
We can send it to your agent or wherever PO box. We have a T-shirt about the Sister Boniface conspiracy. Because there was this giant debate among our listeners about whether Lorna was in the background of a scene in a Father Brown episode.
Because there's a nun with glasses on a like really early episode of Father Brown's. And so we were like, it's Lorna.
No, you thought it was Lorna. I said it wasn't Lorna.
But Jude ended the argument.
Yeah.
Jude found out about the argument and she sent us an email and said, this is what it is.
Yeah. So we can send you a Sister Boniface conspiracy T-shirt.
I would love that. I would absolutely, and I think Lorna would love that too. Actually, I'll bring it on set with me.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and it's been really fun to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for all your hard work. You do such a great job. Thank you.
You too, guys. Like, keep going with this podcast. I have had truly one of the best times in a very long time. So thank you guys for today. Thank you for the questions, and thank you for the conversation.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you.
We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you later.